One of the ways we can spice up our PDF documents and make them more interesting is by adding interactive elements to the pages. In this video, we're going to look at adding multimedia elements. Multimedia is a fancy word that essentially boils down to audio and video. We're working with the file guidecomplete.pdf, which is located in the working files. We're going to start on page 10 of this document, where there's a little bit of white space at the bottom where we can add some multimedia content to this file. Let's open up the Tools pane, and in the Interactive Objects panel, we see a variety of tools for adding objects, including video, sound, and SWF. We'll start with Add Video, and when we choose this, the cursor changes to a crosshair, and we have the opportunity to drag out a rectangle where we want our video clip to appear. When we release the mouse button, we get a dialog box asking us to insert the video. The first step is to choose the file. We'll click Browse, and we'll navigate to the working files in the Chapter 5 folder, and we'll choose egret.mp4. Notice the types of files that are supported here, with the most common being Flash Video, MOV, and MP4. We click on Open, but before we click on OK, there are a few things we want to note. First and foremost, by enabling this option, we'll allow the rectangle we drew to resize itself to the proportions of our video content. Then we can click here to show advanced options. This gives us a rather extensive dialog box with several sections. Under the Launch Settings tab, we can decide when the clip becomes active. We have a choice of having it become active when the content is clicked or when the page is opened or visible. I recommend keeping this set to when the content is clicked to allow the user to play the video clip on demand. It can be distracting or even annoying if video or sound starts playing automatically the moment a user navigates to a page. So give the user a chance to control their experience. Next, we get a chance to decide when the content is disabled and the video stops playing and the frame resets. The default is when we choose Disable Content from the context menu, but we can also change this to disable when the user moves off the page. We'll change this to when the page containing the content is not visible. Finally, we can choose whether to play the content in the Acrobat document right on the page or in a floating pop-up window. We'll leave it set to play on the page. We have an option here for poster image, which is what is displayed when the video is not playing. We can have Acrobat generate a poster image from the media by grabbing the first frame of the video, or we can add our own poster image from a file. We'll choose Browse, and we'll navigate to the Chapter 5 folder within the working files, and we'll choose videoposter.jpg. We'll click on Open, and when we're done here, we can switch to the Controls tab. Under Controls, we have several options controlling the skin, which is the control panel that wraps around our video clip. We can choose whether we want to show all the controls or a specific subset of the controls. We'll leave it set to all controls. We can change the color of these controls, perhaps to align more closely to the color theme of our document, and we'll leave this set to the default. We can also adjust the opacity so that the control bar is partially transparent, so even if it's showing over the video, we can still see the video playing through the controls. We can also choose to auto-hide the controls, which causes the controls to fade away as we move our cursor away from the video and will reappear if we mouse over the video. We'll go ahead and click OK, and when we do, our video is in the file. With the hand tool active, we can hover over the file and we see Click to Activate. When we click, we'll play the video. Notice how the controls appear when you hover over the video and disappear when you move the cursor away. If we move off the page and then return back to the page, we see that the frame is reset and the content is once again disabled. In addition to video, we can add sound files. We'll add sound by going back to the Interactive Objects section and clicking Add Sound. When we do, we once again have the crosshair cursor, and we can drag out a rectangle where we want the sound clip to appear. Once again, we get an Insert dialog box. We'll click Browse, and in the Chapter 5 folder of the working files, we'll choose gbh.mp3, which is a short sound clip of a great blue heron squawking. We'll click on Open, and when we show the advanced options, we see a set of options for launch settings similar to those we saw for video. For poster image, we'll create one from a file since there isn't any poster in a sound clip. We'll click Browse and again open the Chapter 5 folder, and we'll choose audioposter.jpg and we'll click on Open. We'll also go ahead and set this clip to disable when the content is not visible. We'll click on OK, and here's our sound clip with the graphics showing. With the hand tool, we can hover and see Click to activate, and when we click, we'll hear the sound file played and we'll see the controls. Last but not least, we can embed SWIFT files, shockwave flash animations. We'll follow the same process. We'll start on page 1 here and we'll click Add SWIFT, and we get the crosshair and we can drag out a small section for our animation. Now SWIFT files can be animations or videos, and they're usually created with Adobe Flash. You can find SWIFT files on the web, or you can create them yourself if you own a copy of Adobe Flash. We'll browse, and within the Chapter 5 folder of the working files, we'll choose whitebird.swift, and we'll click on Open. Again, choosing the advanced options, we see a similar set of options for controlling the launch settings as we've seen before. We'll leave these at the default settings. Notice these other two tabs, SWF and Resources. These are for programmers who want to have access to the SWF content from within JavaScript or other programming platforms. We'll just go ahead and click on OK. And here's our SWIFT object embedded in the file. Once again, with the hand tool active, we can click to activate, and there's our SWIFT animation moving along for us. So there you have it, video, audio, and SWIFT multimedia objects, interactive content added into our PDF using the Acrobat multimedia capabilities.